Well, what's going on, LPX community? Hope you guys all have been well. Now, a few days ago from recording this video, Samsung has finally announced their Samsung Gear S3, so the third generation of the Gear S line. And without wasting too much of your time, I'm pretty much just going to say I am not getting it. If you guys notice, I am actually not wearing my original Gear S, and that's because it finally broke after 2 years of putting it through hell. And I literally put it through hell. You can actually watch some of my old durability test videos, but I threw that thing around to make a point to people. I put it in water. I put all sorts of things on it to show off to people its capabilities and everything. But after these 2 years of harshly using it, always working out with it, doing everything with it, even constructing work, it has finally died on me. And a lot of you would think this would be the time for me to upgrade to the more recent devices. So maybe even the Gear Fit 2 or the Gear S2, and more, obviously more recently the Gear S3. But unfortunately, I will not be getting it. And the reason is that if you actually watch my old Gear S2 video, it's essentially the same argument that I have with that device. I'm not a fan of the design, and I think a lot of you aren't either. But obviously the mass majority of the consumers did like the round bezel design and the classic watch look, and hence why Samsung has decided to go forward with that design choice. Now, I don't fault them for that, because I know a lot of people are watch users and they would prefer the original watch look at the same time having the smartwatch capabilities. So this phone is definitely a really nice marriage of the two devices. But for people like me, and there are people like me out there, they don't want that traditional look. They want a tech device to look techy. They want it to look futuristic. They want a new design language to it, not an old and tried and true method. I don't disagree with what they did. I think it's an awesome function. When I had it and when I tested it last year, and my friend just got it and I played around with his, it's a fun device. I mean, the bezel screen really does add a different level of interaction to the device, and it's amazing. I mean, the fact that the battery life's been improved to last almost up to 4 days, and I don't doubt that because it is a bigger battery, and the Gear S1, so the first one that was released 2 years ago, lasted almost 3 days in my use. The Gear Fit, the first generation, when I had it, lasted almost 4 days because I only used it for notifications, so hence why it lasted so long. But even with normal use, the fact that you can get almost 2 days of use out of it with no charge, that's absolutely amazing. That's more than you get on some of your phones. But other than the minor improvements, they've added more bands, it looks better. Honestly, as a regular watch, it looks good. I don't put that past them. But in terms of everyday use, I still prefer the original Gear S design. I may be biased towards it because I've been using it for so long, but there's a reason why I've stuck with it to this day. Yes, it may not be the high quality aluminum or stainless steel finishes, but it's light. It is very durable with the materials that they use. I never had an issue with the screen. I never had an issue with water or battery life. The only issue that came about was about a year later where the charge base actually snapped off, but they addressed that in the recent model with the wireless charging docking. Now that is one function that I wish that the Gear S original had, or if they made a new model of that would have incorporated it, but unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that model. And other than the feel of it, the curved design, it just felt comfortable. It felt great to use, and everyone else that looked at it or ever paid attention to my watch has always given it very good compliments, and nothing but good compliments from both Apple users and other Android Wear users. And the Gear S3 and the Gear S2 and some of the Android Wear watches out there like the Moto 360, none of them really ever stuck out to me. Now I know a lot of you might be saying, well, it's 2-year-old technology, shouldn't you keep up to date with the tech? Doesn't that kind of go against the tech vlogger principle? It doesn't necessarily mean that. Just because the device is older doesn't mean that it's inferior to a current piece of tech. Even if you look at the current smartphone world, the current generation of phones that come out are not drastically better than the ones that came out a year or two before. They are slight increases, they're improvements in design here and there, but they're not like a dramatic increase. It's not like going from a gasoline powered car to a flying car overnight. There are gradual improvements, and you're not going to see that in a 2 to 3 year time span. You may see that in a 5, even 10-year time span, but within these few years, I haven't really seen that big leap that I've been hoping. Now, don't get me wrong, this impressions video is not me bashing on the device. It may sound like that, but it's just giving my opinions. I just don't like it. It's not to my liking. I know that might be hypocritical because everyone thinks I'm a Samsung lover. No, I'm a fan of, once again, like if you follow my channel, I'm a fan of tech companies that push the design. They push it forward. Like when the round screens first came out, I thought that was cool. But I still didn't like the look of the device because it felt like a traditional watch, and I'm not a watch user. They got encompassing and it just was the norm. Why do I want my awesome tech device to look like everyone else's? If you have a watch that looks like a smartwatch that looks like everyone else's watch during the daytime, then it's not really going to stick out in terms of everyday use. At least I know when I go around to different cafes and go shopping and I have my Gear S on, immediately when I went up, they're like, what is that? They just immediately looked at it. When I had the Gear S2 for that short time, right before I returned it, nobody complimented on it. They're just like, no one even said nice watch, because it looks like every other watch out there. So why would I want something that is just normal? But at the same time, I recognize that a lot of you are looking forward to this device, and I hope you do, because that's only helping this device, the market grow even more. But this watch is perfect for a lot of you who are looking for an entry point into getting a smartwatch in the past few years and just haven't fell in love with the design or the battery life or any other gripes. It seems like Samsung has addressed the majority of them. And looking online, for a lot of you who are reviewing videos online about waterproof tests, even my own, don't go swimming with these devices. Yes, I will admit, I have gone swimming with my Gear S and my Gear Fit back in the day. So over 2 years ago, I went to a water park with them and they did survive. But at the same time, I heard accounts from other subscribers that said that their device broke after just 10 minutes in a pool. So it's give or take. I may have just gotten lucky with my devices, but I wouldn't risk your own at the same time. If you don't own a smartwatch yet and you've been looking around, this may be the perfect one to get into. This watch is not just exclusive to Samsung phones anymore. You can go ahead and use it on other Android devices, and the fact that they're willing to even make an iOS port is awesome, because it gives you Apple users who don't want to necessarily go away from your iPhone, but at the same time you're not a fan of the Apple Watch. This may be an awesome alternative, because I'm gonna say this right now, you don't really need all the apps. You really don't. I've owned smartwatches for over almost 3 years now, because I've had the first Pebble. I don't really use the apps. And that's just me, because I know there are other people who use they actually end up using the apps, but I mainly use my watch for notifications, phone calls, and just screening my messages. So I wouldn't have to take out my phone every 2 seconds. And especially me working in a small business, I don't really have time to pick up my phone and look at everything. So I put my phone at my desk and I roam around, and I'm able to find my messages through my watch. Obviously, I don't have anything right now, so I'm going to have to address that very soon. This is going to be my last point. Whether it's this watch or another watch, I think you should end up getting one, because a lot of people argue with me that it's a gimmick, that it's unneeded. And that's a valid argument, but that's how smartphones used to be. They were a gimmick when they first came out. Like, you don't really need GPS, you don't really need email, you don't really need internet on the phone. You have a computer at home. You have a regular dial-up phone that you can use, those flip phones. But after a while, it became the new norm. And not to say that these smartwatches are an absolute necessity, that they're going to become the new norm, but I think it solves a very minor problem that a lot of you don't even realize you have. A perfect example is actually my friend who recently just got the Note 7. And with that purchase, he actually got a free Gear S2. And he's the one that, at first he was like, it's stupid, I don't think I'm ever really going to use it. And he calls me saying that he's in love with this thing. The fact that he doesn't have to be on his phone all the time, and he works very hard too. Like, he's always on the go, and he's not really able to get to all his messages and emails all the time, but the watch really allowed him to really funnel it. And I think that's what a lot of you look for. A lot of you actually go after these apps to help you funnel and filter. Filter is the key word here. Filter the information that you're getting. Me as a small business owner, and on top of my social life, I'm getting constant phone calls, emails, messages that I don't really have time to respond to all of them. And this watch, any watch really, any smartwatch, really made it easier to filter all of that for you guys into a quick and easy way to read it all. So in the end, guys, I think Samsung is headed into a nice direction. I love the improvements that they made over the Gear S2. from last year, and they are significant. I mean, okay, they may be minor in a lot of people's eyes, but the refinement is there. A lot of the complaints I heard from other people about my Gear S were pretty much resolved with the Gear S3. And so if they still have more complaints, I'm pretty sure that the company will continue to improve the design and give you guys new, more diverse models to come in the future. Well guys, thank you again for watching that video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any suggestions for other topics or questions for me in general, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like my content and like watching this video, please let me know by leaving a thumbs up down below, and if you haven't already done so, by hitting that subscribe button for more videos in the future. But until the next video, if you'd like to see some of the other content that I've done in the past, please go ahead and visit my channel and the link down below.